Right now on the National Weather Desk, a powerful coastal storm brings heavy snow to the Carolinas, leading to hundreds of accidents across the state.
We have snow drifts that are up to about this high.
While record low temperatures in Florida stun iguanas and residents alike.
I've been living here for 15 years and I don't feel very good about the weather right now.
More than a week after another storm, tens of thousands of homes in the South still don't have power.
So this really has been a rare, prolonged, cold event for us.
We'll explain one of the causes of our recent bout with winter.
It's Punxsutawney Phil!
And it's Groundhog Day. Will it be 6 more weeks of winter?
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. North Carolina is digging out from its biggest snowfall in decades. A powerful nor'easter, which later turned into a so-called bomb cyclone, dropped anywhere from a few inches to more than a foot across the state. North Carolina's governor says snow fell in each of the state's 100 counties. That included blizzard-like conditions on the Outer Banks, where snowfall is a rarity. Even Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, saw up to 5 inches of snow. East of Charlotte, a truck driver narrowly escaped injury when his rig got stuck on train tracks. Moments after he got out, the train slammed into the truck. Amelia Paz is in eastern North Carolina, where people are talking about the unusual snowfall.
Well, we have snow drifts in our courtyard that are up to about this high.
Eastern Carolina saw historic snowfall with more than a foot of snow in some areas. With strong winds creating dangerous drifts, road conditions remain a major concern.
We're trying to just make a pathway so we could get out to go where we're trying to go.
Jeff Blackard was one of several drivers who found themselves stuck in the snow. After some digging and a little help, his car eventually got unstuck and back on the road. And for many, the snow brought back memories of the historic storm back in 1989.
The 89 snowstorm, I think it was on Christmas Day. That was the most snow I'd ever seen. This is very comparable to that.
This is absolutely the most amount of snow. I think we've seen up to maybe about 8 inches at one time before.
I mean, this has got to be a record for decades, so.
Not everyone minded the snow, especially pets getting a rare taste of winter in Eastern Carolina.
And snow flurries fell as far south as Florida. The National Weather Service in Tampa posted this video. You can see a few flakes falling early yesterday morning. It was a scene repeated in communities along Florida's west coast where warm Gulf waters met the bitter cold air flowing over it. The temperatures plunged into the 20s in many places, shattering decades-old records. In fact, the Florida Keys were the only areas that didn't drop below freezing. And the cold weather is sticking around at least through tomorrow. Jamilka Gibson spoke with folks in West Palm Beach who aren't exactly used to this type of chill.
In Palm Beach County, people pulling out their boots, beanies, and big coats.
You walk outside today, you feel this cold weather. Immediately, what's your reaction?
Go back inside and grab more layers.
For longtime resident Daniel Nyman, his routine morning walk with his 2 pups felt foreign.
I've been living here for 15 years and I don't feel very good about the weather right now.
The cold snap forcing people to bundle up, some pulling out winter wear they didn't even remember owning.
I've never seen it this cold. I don't remember ever being this cold. This is actually imported from the Middle East. It's like a fur. Keeps me very warm.
But people weren't the only ones feeling chilly. Cold stunned iguanas were spotted at Howard Park in West Palm Beach and beyond.
We saw 6 or 7 iguanas like piled up together in one spot, and then there was like 50 or 60 when we were in Delray Beach earlier this morning.
Viewers flooding CBS 12 News with these photos as Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission issued a temporary executive order allowing residents to collect the stunned reptiles without a formal permit.
We have snow.
Along the Treasure Coast, reports of flurries.
It's snowing in Port St. Lucie, Florida right now.
And while locals were rattled by the rare freeze, visitors, not so much.
The weather's not bothering me. I grew up in New Jersey, so a touch of the cold every now and then is wonderful.
It's still very cold in Tennessee also, and that's bad news for the nearly 30,000 homes and businesses without power 8 days after last weekend's massive ice storm. Here you can see water that was left dripping from faucets is frozen solid, and the situation is even worse in other homes.
I just walked in my house.
Destroyed belongings after an attic pipe burst. But Nadine Moore says she can't earn income to rebuild her home until she can reopen her food truck.
Ever since I've been, the power's been out in Nashville, I have been out of work, unfortunately. We had to evacuate our house.
After 8 days, there's still no power for tens of thousands of homes and businesses in Nashville.
We're losing time every day that my husband and I aren't able to cook, prep, and prepare for our business.
Many neighborhoods in Tennessee are still littered with trees that were knocked down during the snow and ice storm. Meteorologist Katie Morgan shows us one such community.
Lots of trees are down, just snapped by the weight of all the ice. More damage. You can hear the generators going. Found this sign. Still no power. Look at all this tree damage. Folks have been busy. Chainsaws, I can hear them all over. And look at this light pole. Look how it bent. Again, just kind of looks like a tornado. Keep in mind too, this last week, temperatures have barely been above freezing, maybe 1 or 2 days. So this ice really didn't go anywhere until recently. And temperatures overnight have been in the single digits and wind chills below 0. So this really has been a rare, prolonged cold event for us on top of a historic ice storm.
Now, Nashville will see highs near 50 today, and they could hit 70 degrees by Wednesday. Washington and New York City should finally get above freezing today for the first time in a week, but the break is only temporary. Another batch of Arctic air should be reaching the area by the weekend, and keep those sweaters and gloves handy in the meantime. Today is Groundhog Day, of course, and as the legend goes, Punxsutawney Phil emerges from his burrow to let us know if we'll have an early spring. So what did he...
It is my job this February 2 to look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
Shocking. That announcement coming shortly before 7:30 this morning in western Pennsylvania. It comes on the day marking the midway point between the start of winter and the start of spring in March. And the fact that we should see 6 more weeks of winter does not come as much of a surprise. In fact, just once over the past 6 years and 4 times in the last decade did Phil predict an early spring. According to NOAA data, the groundhog only gets it right about 30% of the time. Meteorologist Emily Gracie spoke more on the history of this unusual event.
Groundhog Day, the age-old tradition of watching Punxsutawney Phil emerge from hibernation and tell a bunch of guys in top hats what the weather's going to be like for the second half of winter. Thousands of people converge at Gobbler's Knob in Pennsylvania every February for this 3-day celebration. The holiday as we know it today has changed drastically from the very first Groundhog Day, where the star of the show was actually also on the menu. Yeah, that's right. The celebration in the 1880s featured a variety of groundhog meat dishes. Controversy over Groundhog Day continues, mostly among professional meteorologists that find Phil's lack of education in the field a bit off-putting. In fact, many have made note of his lack of accuracy, while others enjoy the fun that comes with the tradition. And while looking to a rodent for accurate long-range forecasting may seem a bit strange, in Zurich, Switzerland, they march a giant firecracker-filled snowman through town before lighting him on fire. The faster the snowman's head explodes, the warmer they can expect their summer to be. So, whether you choose a terrifying, exploding snowman, a fuzzy woodchuck, or a degreed meteorologist, you have multiple options for your forecast source, year after year after year after year. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie.
Now, February may be the shortest month of the year, but we get a lot of added daylight. Over 28 days, we'll gain anywhere from 30 to 80 additional minutes of daylight. Most of us will see 50 to 60 minutes more, with far northern areas gaining the most and South Florida and Texas the least. And this all leads up to the vernal equinox in March, when day and night are equal. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll look at the weather phenomenon that's contributed to the recent cold and south in the east. And we'll help you better understand thundersnow.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast as we head through the day on Sunday. That storm is passing well down to our south. We are dry all across New England throughout the day on Monday. Lots of sunshine is expected. Temperatures will approach that 30-degree mark in some areas as we head into the daytime on Monday. Otherwise, we are talking, again, another mostly sunny day for the day on Tuesday. A little bit more in the way of clouds, some snow showers in parts of New York, but high temperatures for the daytime tomorrow topping out in the 20s to low 30s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We're going to be looking at more cold temperatures, but eventually getting a little bit of warmth to actually get us into the above freezing category. We do have another system on the way. This is likely to bring a little bit of light snow to much of Maryland, parts of southern Pennsylvania, and northern Virginia going into late Tuesday and Wednesday night. We'll talk about the temperatures, at least recovering a little bit. We'll get to above freezing by Tuesday.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. A chilly afternoon for Monday across the southeast. Temperatures running in the 30s and 40s across the Carolinas, into the mid-50s along the northern Gulf Coast, with the mid to upper 50s across most of central and south Florida too. High pressure firmly in control. This leaves the weather pattern very quiet across the southeast. Mostly sunny conditions before cloud cover develops across the Mississippi River Valley with a chance for showers into Tuesday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
It was a snowy weekend in parts of the South. This reporter fit sledding into her work, while another reporter found a way to include self-made snow angels. Here's something you may not see often: cross-country skiing on the beach. And a week after the big winter storm hit Middle Tennessee, this waterfall flowing strong during the weekend and chunks of ice still holding on.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
And it's been a pretty eventful winter the last few weeks, and one of the reasons is because of a large-scale atmospheric pattern known as the Arctic Oscillation, or the AO. Emma Keegan explains.
There's two phases to AO, and it dictates the patterns in between mid-latitude and polar air masses. Now, with a positive Arctic oscillation, as you can see on my left, you'll see a very strong and not so wavy jet stream. It'll be nearly linear in fashion, and as a result of its strength, it sequesters the air masses to where they belong. So cooler air will stick to the poles, and warmer air, it'll stick around to those mid-latitudes. In a negative phase of Arctic oscillation, however, it's completely different. You'll have a weaker jet stream with a wavier pattern, and as a result, cold air from the north and warm air from the south begin to leak in to each other's air masses. Think of an action and reaction. You have the action, for example, of cold air that wants to push further south, and as a result, the reaction is that warmer air that's going to begin to push north.
And we talk a lot about how the cold can impact your health, your home, and your car. But it can also cause major issues for your hair. It's a real problem, this line of work. Meteorologist Jeff Exline explains why winter means dry hair and what you can do to avoid the frizz.
Cold air can't hold as much moisture. That's why it's very dry during the winter season. Our skin gets dry and starts to crack. And, it also impacts our hair. I met up with Jamie, who cuts my hair at Legal Hair and Day Spa in Steubenville, and she has a few tips on how you can prevent dry hair this winter season.
So first thing, if it's your hair that's dry, we have certain products here like our Hydrate line in Pureology. is really nice. It has eucalyptus, it has rosemary, it has peppermint in it, so it's a really nice invigorating feeling. And that is going to mainly add the moisture into the hair that gets depleted from all of like the dry heat and everything going around. We also have in our Pacifica line a scalp scrub, so that really helps with like if you have dandruff or just your skin's just flaking because it's dry. Also, getting a humidifier helps, just adding moisture into your air at your house, like in certain rooms, like say when you're sleeping or something, because you're in there the majority of the time, whenever, anywhere from I'll say 6 to 8 hours.
Another simple tip, stay hydrated during winter and also keep a healthy diet.
Now, a serious concern of first responders in the winter months is carbon monoxide poisoning. It's one of the biggest risks you have when you heat your home in the winter. Gracie Palmer looks at the warning signs and what you can do to help avoid the dangers.
If you choose to use propane or natural gas to heat your home, you need to remember these key tips to keep you and your family safe. The Swannanoa Fire Department recommends checking the color of your flame. While blue flames signal a safe burn, if the tip begins to turn an orangish red color, you could be releasing dangerous carbon monoxide fumes. The best practice to ensure your home is safe from carbon monoxide is to buy a portable carbon monoxide detector found at most hardware stores.
Carbon monoxide is released from every fire, even from a campfire. But it's where we have an enclosed space in a house and we have more incomplete combustion or lack of proper ventilation or installation that we have a carbon monoxide problem.
If your heating method of choice is an electric heater, you could in turn be facing a fire danger. The #1 issue with these electric heaters is accidentally overworking the circuit. A good rule of thumb is to unplug everything except for that heater. When using an electric heater, also ensure you have 36 inches around it clear from pets, kids, furniture, or just anything that could burn.
Now, did you know that thunderstorms can happen when it snows? Meteorologist Teresa Carter explains thundersnow.
Thundersnow is a rare and unique weather phenomenon where lightning and thunder occur during a snowstorm rather than rain. Only about 7 out of every 100,000 winter storms produce this event. Thundersnow is caused by the same ingredients as a regular thunderstorm: moisture, instability, and lift. But in a cold winter storm, creating lightning and thunder amidst heavy snowfall. This happens when a shallow layer of warm, moist air is lifted rapidly over a colder layer, causing strong updrafts that collide ice crystals, generating static electricity for lightning. The sound of thunder is often muffled by the snow, creating a booming or rumbling sound, and the intense lifting leads to a very heavy snow.
If you want more weather content like this from our team of over 200 meteorologists across the country, be sure to check us out on social media. We also post all the latest weather news and video. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. And we continue to highlight what makes America special as part of our Amazing America 250 segments. Friendy Clairvaux traveled to rural South Carolina to show you how one family has been feeding America for generations.
With a turn of a key, Lynn Berry leading the way into Berry Farm in Orangeburg County, South Carolina. This nearly 100-acre farm has been in his family for generations.
Great-grandfather, grandfather, grandmother, all of them. This place been here long before my time.
We're talking more than 100 years. Berry says they plant and harvest corn, soybeans, and hay. The farm is also loaded with livestock. The family raises hundreds of goats, dozens of hogs, and plenty of cattle. Berry says this farm is literally feeding America.
These calves here, they'll end up in the grocery store. They'll end up on somebody's plate. We call it from farm to table.
Berry says he learned so much from his father, who recently celebrated a major birthday.
That was a blessing from God. Turned 95 years old and still keep the farm going. That was God's grace and mercy.
His father tells me he was born on this farm in 1930, and since then, he's been putting his hand to the plow.
Really, my dad's 95, and he can't do what he used to do, but he still have a love for it, and he want to see it continue to the next generation.
Barry says farmers like him are making sure Americans are getting quality food.
For example, here, these cows, they were born and raised here. We don't know, if you go to the store, you're not sure where your meat is coming from. You don't know if it came from China or some other country, or you don't know how it was raised and how it was processed. But here, when you buy from us or buy locally, these calves, you know the whole history of them.
In Orangeburg County, South Carolina, for Amazing America 250, I'm Friendy Clairvaux.
And time now for a short break, but first we take in some views above Florida's highway to the Keys.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Some light snow showers across the Midwest for the day today, but nothing of major impact for us for today. Tomorrow, got a little bit of snow ramping up there across the Ohio Valley and some rain down in Kentucky. By the time that we get into your Wednesday, back to quiet conditions once again with cloudy skies for most of the Midwest and temperatures trying to warm up a little bit.
Good Monday morning. Happy Groundhog Day. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look forecast across the region. We'll have the cloud cover building in ahead of our next cold front that will move to the south. But today, a mild day across the region, mainly in the 60s with a mix of sun and clouds. Then the front will move south into your Tuesday. We're watching showers and thunderstorms that develop along the front from East Texas into Louisiana on Tuesday afternoon. 50s and 60s north of the front, 70s along the Gulf Coast.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. We'll have a weak disturbance pushing its way in through parts of the Pacific Northwest. That's going to kick up the winds as well as bring widespread showers to parts of Seattle and in western Washington. Dense fog will be a concern in portions of central California with daytime highs climbing to about 50 degrees in Boise later today, 58 in Denver. We've got 70s on tap from San Diego through LA and in the low 50s in Seattle and Portland.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
In Austin, Texas, last week's winter weather caused extensive damage to a 100-year-old theater. The historic Palace Theater had to cancel closing weekend. Sean Leach has a look at the damage.
We started off as a movie theater back in 1926. Hearing that our theater was flooded and it had been sitting here in standing water for days was absolutely devastating.
It was heartbreaking for all of us because it's not just about trying to repair the damage that's been done, but we have so many casts that have devoted so much time and they didn't get to do their final bows. They didn't get to do their final performances.
The Palace Theater is an anchor of the cultural district here. It is so important to our community.
Our goal is to be here for another 100 years. We now have the possibility to fix and rebuild and make things better. You don't expect this to happen on your 100-year anniversary. You don't. Let's make this 100-year anniversary this year about making the Palace the best it can be.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. Make it a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for the National Weather Desk.